Let's go ahead and let's run this. All right, and we'll see if it does indeed work. And yeah, look at that. That's starting to work out quite nicely. And by the way, this actually kind of looks really cool. At least I love this minimalist aesthetic. I think it looks kind of neat. Nevertheless, let's go and let's spawn we need to go and add in some other items here. For example, spawning the random enemies here. So let's add in a function. We'll call this timer spawn enemies. And in here, you're going to notice that timers are pretty much set up the same way. We're going to say let wait is equal to sk action dot wait for duration, and we'll make that equal to, and then we have a enemy spawn rate. We have a spawn rate that we have here. Then we're going to go to let spawn equal to sk action dot run block. We need to delete those two curly brackets and add the curly brackets here. We're going to go to self.spawn enemy. Okay, and you can see here that we take a look at this, and we have the spawn main label spawn star, and then we have spawn enemy. So there we go. Always want to make sure that you're spelling everything correctly. Then we're going to go to let sequence is equal to sk action dot sequence, and we're going to go to wait then spawn. Then we're going to go to self.runAction sk action dot repeat action forever, and then we're going to repeat the sequence forever. Okay, so that works. Let's hop up to our spawn enemy function here, and we're going to add in another function. And before we do that, I'm just going to take away some of this empty space. And this function here is going to be called function move enemy to ground, to floor. And again, I know exactly what that does. So let's call that move enemy to floor. And it's going to work exactly the same way as the move projectile up to the top, except we're going to move the enemy to the ground. So in order to do that, we need to say let move to is equal to sk action dot move to y. The y will be something like negative 150, and the ns time interval is going to be enemy and then speed. We've already set that up here. Okay, we're going to say let destroy is equal to sk action dot remove from parent. All right, so if we look at this here, the next thing we need to do is we need to call the enemy dot run action. What action are we going to run? We're going to run an sk action dot sequence. And what sequence are we going to run? Move to and destroy. So that's going to move the enemy down to the ground. All right, and pretty much that is our basic game. So let's run that and let's take a look at to see what happens. So we build succeed, and it takes a while for the simulator to load here. And for the most part, we have done everything right except for we need to go up here and we need to say timer spawn enemies. We need to actually call the timer. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's run it here, and there we go. Look at this, and that's looking kind of neat. So again, we're going to be making all of our items here do something, and we need to add in the collision and the score logic and all that stuff, right? But this is our basic game, and I think the speed and difficulty is actually pretty good. We could play around with it later, but for now, I think this concludes the tutorial.